this is a formula to go from nothing to something, to go from rags to riches. Ultimately, you have to gain one skill in order to manifest everything that you want. You have to learn how to conjure an emotion that's apart from the reality that you're looking at. If the reality that you're looking at right now is one of less money or less progress in this career or this artistic endeavor, then you can't let law of attraction get whiff of that, because it's not about the words. Law of attraction is hearing your vibration, and the way that you can translate vibration, the best way to do that is through your emotion. It truly is. And so as you get into the habit of conjuring emotion for how it feels and not for the result that it will give you, meaning the manifestation, as you become emotionally invested in your own well-being, as you become very invested in the emotional manifestation, then you're truly on your way to getting everything that you want. It's the humans around you, it's the humans that we call the peanut gallery, that are looking at reality and they're not willing to budge with their emotional habit. They're not willing to budge emotionally until reality changes. They say, if reality changed, I can't feel better because this is happening in the world. This is happening. My bank account is this. I can't be happy until all of this changes. And once this does change, then I'll finally be happy. And then they sometimes they line up with it and they end up getting to the other side, and then they want something else. And so they're always onto something. They're always in that state of like, I'm not happy until this happens and this happens, and they're missing out on the whole point, because every moment is supposed to be fun. You see, you're meant to go from rags to riches. We're talking to the leading edge here, and the best way to really get this conversation started is that you're source energy. You are source energy, and you put yourself in this body because you were so down for this exploration of contrast. You were so down for the variety, and from the variety, you would focus your desire, exactly what you want, your own preference, not what anyone else wanted, what you wanted, what life caused you to want, your preferences, not what they want, what you want, not what your village wants, not what your city, your family, and not your ancestry, nothing. It's about what you want, what this life experience has caused you to become. And a lot of you wanted to catch all of the events of life. You wanted to feel life in its fullness. You didn't want a quote unquote easy life. You didn't want to be born in riches. You wanted to be born in the struggle. You wanted to be born in the hood so you can enjoy and truly savor every step, because you always knew that no matter what, you would get there. You knew that this time would be different, because you would come into this body remembering who you were, and you would have these breadcrumbs everywhere, and you were going to be around and alive in this time where there's so much more conversation and there's so much more accessibility to the leading edge about conversations about law of attraction and being the deliberate creator and the creator of your own reality. So you were down. And as you stand where you are right now, wherever you are right now, our biggest intention is to relieve you of your desire or your inclination to think that you have to be the one that takes you all the way over there. It's not like that. Law of attraction is the engine. It's like you're in the car, and instead of you get out the car, instead of driving the car, instead of telling the car where you want to go, you're going to go pull up the hood and become a part of the engine of the car. But you don't do that. But that's the thing. You do that with law of attraction. You get so problem oriented, and you want to solve problems. You want to prove your worthiness. You see, in this game of suffering, in this game of sacrifice, where everyone is sacrificing, where everyone is doing things that no one wants to do, there's a lot of sacrifice. And those who sacrifice the most, they get all the awards. But where are the awards for those that feel the best? Do you notice that the awards are always for what you have? What do you have? What assets do you have? What assets do I have? How can we compare assets? And based on your assets, we're going to be able to tell you what type of life that you're going to live. But truly, you can be the richest person and you can still be in grave depression, because it's not about how much you have. Reality has nothing to do with your emotional state, but humans are so good at observing reality. And when you're young, you're good at that. You understand that it's all about the mind. It's all about how you feel, and how you feel is truly your deliberate conjuring of an emotion. It's about how the question is not what can I have right now, it's about how much better can I feel, because you understood. Because when you were a kid, when we were those youngsters, you were not trying to prove your worthiness. You were not trying to make a point. You were just living your life. You understood the flow of life. You understood the source energy that you were. You understood the strong desire with which you came into this body with. And so as you stand wherever you are, we're going to tell you exactly how to get to where you want to go. It's really easy. This is the thing. We're dealing with the law of attraction. Let's go. This is the formula. So when we talk about the law of attraction, we're talking about the law that manages the universe. This is the law that says, that literally states, that which is likened unto itself is drawn. So what that really means is that two like frequencies will come together. So right now, imagine you're in the rags and you want to go to the riches. Imagine so it's like if you were someone who's rich, who was born in a rich family, or maybe you were born in a family with people who are already like very successful, you would have, maybe your belief factor would be a little bit more raised than that of someone who's not around anyone who's successful. Everyone around them is poor. Everyone around them is struggling. No one does what they love to do. Everyone is just struggling. So we're trying to talk to those people. What about when you have nothing? And that's the thing. That's why you came into this body. You really want to truly become the creator that you were meant to be. So you're like, give me a challenge, a really fun challenge, and I'll be able to use my guidance. I will remember who I am, and I will go from rags to riches, and I will enjoy every piece of the puzzle. I will enjoy every single step of the way. So the easiest way to do that is through emotions, because emotions are really general. And as you talk about emotions, because here's the thing, the image of what you want is squarely, it just is, because there's so much resistance. But the thing is, when we talk about emotions are general. They're very general. When we say they're general, they're not about anything specific, because instead of talking about money, instead of talking about the fame or the success, we're saying things like, talk about clarity, talk about the replenishment mode, talk about the vortex, talk about what feels good to you, talk about why you want all these things. And that takes us to a piece of the formula. Talk about why you want the desire, not how it's going to come, not what it's going to look like, why do you want it? And in asking yourself why you want it, you propagate, that's a good way to say it, or you continue, or you practice the frequency of your desire, so there's more momentum. It's all a game of momentum. You see, everyone who's famous, the masters that you revere, they all stood in the position that you now stand, which is one of not having any evidence of success. It's truly, that's when creation is really fun, because you're the one who has to create the evidence for yourself. And so when you talk about why you want it, when you talk about the emotional, now you're talking about the passion that you're going to feel, the flow, the ease, the fun, the joy, the satisfaction. Oh, like all those words just feel so good. And as you start to feel them, in your solar plexus right here, and as you start to translate those vibrations, those are manifestations. Emotions are manifestations. In order for you to even hatch a desire, in order for the desire to even be readable or written downable, or something that makes a desire that's very clear, you have to be in the vortex. You were in the vortex. You were in concert with source energy, and source energy was like, oh yeah, by the way, you want to be really rich. Oh yeah, you want to be one of the best writers of your time. You want to be one of the best singers of your time. You want to be one of the best actors of your time. You want to be one of the best filmmakers of your time. You want to be one of the richest people of your time. And you're like, true. And so we're like, well, you're already 99% all the way over there. And that's why emotions are so important, because when you're doing this work and you're taking score of what physically has come, then you're really doing yourself such a disservice. Because when you look at reality, when you look at this moment, even this now moment, it's old. It's an old moment, and this moment is not accurate. There's nothing accurate in this. It's literally like a cake that's already been baked. You can't do anything about it. You should have gone out ahead of it. But now that you're in a place that you don't want to be, you have to feel as good as you can. You have to reach for the best feeling thought. And that's where things get really interesting, when you start to really talk about why you want it, because we know this is the thing. When you talk about why you want the desire, and you're truly in the momentum, and you truly feel the passion, and you're like, yes, I want it, because the passion, the fun, and the flow, it's the law. You have to start seeing evidence of it, because the law of attraction will always match you up, and it will always give you the essence of your desire. So as you start to practice the evidence, it's like you're literally practicing the frame to which the house will be built in, and law of attraction will build a house. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to prepare your atmosphere. You have to create the perfect soil that's perfect for propagating the seed. That's exactly what you have to do. You have to create the perfect environment. So as you're talking about why you want it, yeah, you're not really talking about the driving the car or the money yet, but those things will naturally come, because that's what happens as momentum starts to grow. When you start generally, now you're less likely to shoot yourself in the foot. So now as momentum starts and you start to get more specific from a place of being general, then now you're going to start to have visions. Now you're going to have ideas. Now you're going to start meeting people, rendezvous. You're going to start seeing people on the internet. Nature's going to start playing with you. And then bam, you're going to see evidence. And when you start seeing evidence, you have to hold to that evidence like your life depends on it. Well, not really, but that evidence, you manifested every piece of evidence. But we're saying that emotion is also a piece of evidence. So you need to keep track of how good you're feeling about this desire, because that's accurate information. That's telling you how far along you are. So if you're feeling really good about your desire, talk about that. Talk about, yeah, I don't see it yet. I don't have my desire yet, but I'm feeling so good about it. I have the real prize, which is emotion. That's, if you can truly see that, then you can not only have anything that you want, but you will be the happiest person in the entire world. You will feel so good. You will radiate source energy. People will know you for you're going to be the life of the party, because now you're not upset that what you want isn't here yet, because you understand that you're eternal. You're always going to want something new. You're always, this thing, when you go from rags to riches, that in itself is a trap, because you truly never go from rags to riches, because there's no end, there's no richness, there's no end to the journey. It's always something. So yeah, you're gonna go from rags to riches, but then you're gonna want more money, you want more fame, you're gonna want more this, and So you have to get really good at the gap. You have to get really good at being like, you know what, it's not here yet, but I'm not gonna freak out about it because I don't need to see the physical version of it right now in this red hot moment. Because as you release that need to see it right now in this red hot moment, because the second that you want it, it's not that you can't have it immediately, because the better you get at staying in the receiving mode longer, then you can start to see it right away. You can start to see evidence of it. The thing is, emotional evidence is literally evidence too. That's what we're trying to get you hooked on. That emotion is evidence. So once you start getting pieces of physical evidence, naturally that momentum will pick up, because as that's a time to focus on it, on the evidence that you got. Take stock of evidence that you got, and it's like focus on what's working, focus on what has been working, focus on your score sheet, focus on the things that you once doubted but came perfectly in the exact way that you wanted to. Talk about the manifestations that you talk about, your success stories, because your job is to convince yourself. Your job is to convince yourself that you have to talk yourself into the vortex long enough that you can get an idea while you're in the vortex. And that's what it's all about. You see, when a desire hatches within you, it always feels good. Desire feels so good. Desire is like fuel. It fuels you in your life. It feels so good. And it's exactly why you came for desire, because desire feels good. But it's when you start to kill desire, you start to dilute it with doubt and what is, and how I'm gonna get there. But when you talk about why you want it, you're preparing yourself for that desire to not fill in. Now the details are gonna fill in, because that's how the law of attraction literally works. And so as you start to have an emotional response that's different than the reality that you're seeing, so you could be in a rag situation right now, but you know what, you can't feel that way. You're like, yeah, my reality isn't one that I want, but I feel so good. I feel like I'm there. I have the real price. Because when I talk about why I want, the richest life from this place of being in the rags, I really understand that it's all about just about feeling good. It's about being in that replenishment mode. And I have the replenishment mode right now, so I have the real prize. I made an end goal. It's like a home run, and so naturally everything's just gonna fall into place. But right now I'm not upset that I'm not there, because here's the thing: we know this. It's a law of attraction. You can't hold two thoughts at the same time. You can only choose one or the other. You gotta get really good at choosing. So while you're focusing on the essence of your desire, you can't focus on the absence of the fact that it's not here yet. You can't focus on the absence of it, because that would defy the law. And as you start to focus less and less on the absence and more on the essence and more on how it feels, then you're going to start to see evidence. And as you start to see evidence, talk about it. Naturally, that evidence will perpetuate itself, and you're going to start to see more evidence. And that's literally how people get overnight famous. You think they get overnight fame, the thing is, you don't really know what's in their vibration, because there was momentum at play. They didn't see any evidence first, and they started talking about why they wanted. They were in their replenishment mode. They were writing that book, and they were so focused on the writing that they forgot about the audience and who was going to read it. And naturally, the longer that they stayed in their replenishment mode, the longer that they stayed connected to their source, the longer that they kept the dream alive and didn't kill it with doubt and didn't trample it with what is and questions that they didn't have answers to. And as they kept talking about why they wanted it and kept imagining it and daydreaming it in their mind, the results started to pop up, and then momentum started to play a really big role, because the results that they were seeing started to really perpetuate. It started to really shore up their belief, like, yeah, I'm literally doing this. And there's nothing more that makes you feel more worthy as a creator than thinking a thought and then seeing the results that you like. Because now you have the formula. That is a formula. You have to hold a thought long enough, and you can't let anything, you know what it is, like you have to hold a thought and you just can't contradict it. That's literally what momentum is. That's what you have to get really good at. You want to hold a thought and basically not contradict it. That's how you get from rags to riches. And we're telling you, well, you can do that through your emotions. You don't have to sort through all the thoughts in the world, because it will make you feel crazy, because there's just too much, and it's a lot more harder job. But the more that you talk about emotions, then you're good. Emotions are boring, because when specific energy is, the specifics are faster, that's why. But the thing is, when you don't have control of your car and you go faster than you can, then you can handle, then you can drive, then that car is going to crash and burn, and it's going to be painful. But when you start from a place of being slow, when you start from this general platform, when you take yourself into that slow conversation of, why do I want this? Why do I want this? When you really slow down, because you don't have time not to do that, then as the energy starts to pick up, the details start to fill into your mind, and you're really good. We want you to get you hooked on the emotion, because we know that you're gonna go from rags to riches, and then you're gonna want so much more. So as you really start to get really hooked on these emotions, then you can go anywhere. The emotions are everything. No conversation about law of attraction is complete without your emotional guidance system, because you can literally guide yourself everywhere, because your source energy, and no one else can give you really accurate advice, because no one knows your points of relativity. No one knows where you are in relationship to your desire. Only you do. Only you can feel your points of relativity. Only you can feel yourself in proximity to source. Only you can feel if anger is the best choice for you. Only you know. And we want to awaken the guidance system within you. Because once you you know what's crazy, it's like, you know, everyone wants fame, but the reason why most people want fame is because they you know, they feel misunderstood, they don't feel valued, they feel like no one cares about them. So like, oh, if I was famous, then everyone would understand me, because I feel misunderstood, so everyone will understand me. So sometimes fame really does have has a vibrational root in something that you really don't want, because you really don't want to have your feeling goodness or your well-being or how you feel based off of what others are saying about you, because it's not fun. Because the true reward is emotion, and that's how you get all the awards in the world. That's how you are. You have multiple accolades because you're giving yourself the award. You're like, you know what, the biggest award truly is how I feel in the now moment. So now you're not looking, because you understand that emotion is the biggest prize of all. And as you understand that the emotion is the biggest prize of all, and that you can have the emotion, while you can't have the physical manifestation right now, you can have the emotion of it. And as you start having the emotion of it and you start digging into the emotion of it, momentum will ensue, and you're going to start to see results. And as you start to see results, the rest just happens naturally, because that's how law of attraction works. And we know that you came here for this experience. This is a leading edge conversation. It truly is. And you're different. You are different. You feel resonance with your source. You know too much. Now you know too much. Now you know that negative emotion means something really good. Now you know that positive emotion means you're going towards your desire. So you can't ever feel negative emotion and not know what that means. When you have negative emotion, it means that you're not connected to your source. It means that you're not thinking a thought that's in connection to your source. You're off from your source. And our whole thing is, why would you not want to be connected to your source? Why would you not go where the leverage is? Because you're source energy, and you have access to the energy that creates worlds. So use it to your advantage. And so people are going to look at you, they're going to be like, oh my God, how did you do it? And you're just going to laugh, because you're just going to say, you know what, I just gave up on the struggle. I just said, you know what, when I was in, you know, my life is in shambles, it's in rags right now, what can I really do about it? Nothing. And I just start feeling better about the gap. And as I started to feel better about the gap, momentum started to pick up. I just felt good about my life. I just started taking score of how good I felt. And then the rest just naturally happened. Momentum ensued, and my life went from rags to riches. My life took off. But you know what? Even when I was in that situation where I didn't want to be, I still felt like I was rich. I still felt like, because here's the thing, where are the awards for the people who are the happiest? Where are the awards for the people who feel the most satisfied? You can pay your bills, you can pay everything in satisfaction, truly, in clarity. And if you don't know about it, it's because you haven't tried. You have not tried, and until you try, you just won't know. You don't know about the leverage of the universe until you truly take time to meditate and quiet your mind, and allow the question of why do I want it to start to build the thought pathways in your mind, so that when you start to see results, you're gonna be like, true, because I was thinking this thought, so this thought led to this and this and this and this, and basically I'm powerful. Basically I can have anything that I want. Basically I now know the formula, and as I now know the formula, I can apply it to anything. It's like mathematics. It's not about how big the numbers are, it's not about how small the numbers are, it's not even about the numbers are negative, because the formula always works. I can input anything into the formula, and I will always into the equation, and I will always get what I want out of it, because now I understand the formula. Now I understand that I truly am the creator of my universe, and I know exactly how to do that. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at this whole creation thing. And as I get better, I'm going to start seeing results. True, I am. I'm going to start seeing physical results, because that's a natural byproduct. But mostly what I'm really looking for is feeling good. I feel a lot better more of the time now.